Hi, I'm Jennifer and this is Emily, and today I am showing you how to sew the new Emma tank. And it's actually not really a new pattern, it is just a revisited pattern of the Tankini add-on. So it has a name now. So I use the Christina top. This is the Emma on the bottom, and it has a secret pocket here. Now the cool thing is on the back, I actually added an additional back option. So we have kind of a little cutout here in the back, just kind of a full back. So we really only just use the sports bra on the top front.
To make it fancy?
Yeah, to make it fancy and to give people more options. So if you've already purchased the Tankini, you can just log into your account and re-download your pattern, and it will actually have all of the new pattern pieces to it. And this one actually, the back, I'm going to show you the inside. The back is fully lined. So it kind of helps you with the extra support. And the front I did with a separate freestanding shelf bra. So all the outside pieces are sewn together, and so this piece is kind of loose hanging. So it's a little different construction. Kind of like a little shelf bra. So it's a little bra on the inside that it's not really attached, so the outside doesn't have to be clingy to your body, just the under pieces. I mean, it's all going to be pretty clingy because that's the way it's designed. Anyways, enjoy the video. For this Emma tank add-on, we're going to be doing a shelf bra on the inside. So we're going to be attaching the outside layers together first. So the center front is going to attach to the center front, the side front to the side fronts. And then we can do the lining of the top a little bit separate. So let's go ahead and actually let's deal with the pocket. Now on the other sample I did, I just overlocked the edge, and that was kind of a lazy way to do it. My instructions actually show overlocking it, folding it up, and then zigzagging it closed. And that'll give you a much cleaner finish. It is going to be hidden inside, and your hand can be going into the pocket. So whatever works for you, you want to make sure that it's in good shape. So for this one, I'm actually going to take all 4 of these pieces, I'm going to take and I'm going to overlock them. Then I'm going to fold them up and then do a zigzag, just like the instructions. And this is just another way to do this. So I'm just going to fold it up about 3/8 of an inch what the seam allowance is, and then zigzag it so I have a clean finish on these pieces. So I'm going to do that so we can finish up these panels before we start attaching them to the tops. Okay, so I'm just going to clip these apart. As you can see, I used white and black thread because I had a bobbin that had white thread in it, and then I figured this is hidden anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, so with each of these pieces that we have folded up, we're going to fold them with the wrong sides facing each other up at that fold. So up at the notch, and then we're going to pin this at the top. And then just pin this one up here. You can do that on the other ones. And on the last one I did, I kind of ended up doing one upside down or one backwards. So I'm just going to do it so I've got my left and my right next to each other in opposite directions to make sure I'm doing them in the right direction. Once I kind of got those pinned, clip some of this ugly thread. Then I'm going to place them so this side is facing up and this side is overlapping. So the fold is facing up on this one and this one is overlapping. So the wrong sides are facing each other of the main body. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to pin these all in place. And then what I can do is I can go and I can base the whole side together. So if I go ahead and just kind of get these pinned and lined up. So I'm going to baste these pieces together, and then I'll be back so we can then work on assembling tops to bottoms. Okay, so I've got these pieces all basted together and they're ready to go. So now I'm going to work from my center front. Now, if you're working on the Jackie, you want to make sure you have the front two panels attached first before we can attach it to the bottom. So I'm going to leave my lining piece up there, and then we can, with the right sides together, go ahead and pin the center front waistlines. I like to start on the two ends to make sure I've got everything lined up right. And at that 3/8, that's where they should kind of overlap. So they should meet at the outside edge at 3/8 of an inch from that outside edge. And then we can always come back. I like to pin it towards me, find the center. Okay, we've got this one pinned together, and I'm going to overlock that. But because I don't want to have to keep getting up and down from the machine, I'm going to also pin these pieces together. Okay, and then we can pin these pieces together. Okay, now I'm going to go to my overlock and sew these 3 seams, and then I'll be back. Okay. Panels are ready. I had actually sewn a pleat in there, so I had to go back and fix that a little bit. Okay, so now we can work on lining these up. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to try and line up the seam first from here to here, make sure that they kind of meet nice and neat. And then I'm going to go and I'm just going to tack it down right there to make sure that it all stays in order when I'm sewing it. So when I do this, I kind of check where it's going to be sewing. So at that 3/8 of an inch, I make sure that that is lined up. Stick a pin right there, and so I don't want anything to move. I'm going to kind of do a cross of the pin so that's right in that position. Okay, so now over here, I'm going to do the same thing. So there's the threads are in the way. Okay, so I'm going to tack those 2 spots down, and then I'm going to come and double check that that is correct, and then we can work on pinning the seams together. Okay, so just kind of with those tacked down, we have a perfect intersection right there. And we have a perfect intersection right there. So now I'm okay to pin the rest of the panel together. So I'm going to pin the bottom first because that's the easiest, and it looks like my basting stitch. I'm going to take out that basting stitch here just to, because the thread was too tight. So it's okay if it doesn't go all the way up, but I want this seam to be fairly smooth. So kind of smooth it so I end up having a little gap in the middle. Okay, so from this point, ready to sew these. Okay, so the full front, pretty much finished. I know I need to do the hems. I'm going to do the hems when I'm done with the back also. So we can set this one aside. Before we get rid of the front completely, I want to make sure I kind of keep this up. This is asymmetrical, as you can see, that I have one side larger than the other. So we want to make sure that we don't that we actually are attaching these in the right order. So since the outside, and I haven't changed the layout on this, then we know we need to put this side together. It's just important that you get them kind of put in the right order. Once you get the one side, it's easy to get the other side lined up. Okay, so now the shelf bra is at least pinned together. I'm going to go ahead and sew this together, and then we're going to add the elastic to the bottom, and then we can set aside the whole front until we actually deal with the back. So I'm going to finish the seams first. Okay, so I got the seams attached on here. Now we need to get a piece of band elastic. Here's some band elastic. So when we're going to be looking at this, we want to look at the side that's going to be facing the body. We also want to make sure that when we attach the band elastic, it's going to kind of be in the opposite of what you would normally do, because if this is against the skin, we want the soft side against the skin as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to take, and with the soft side, I'm going to put it faced forward on here, and then I'm actually just going to overlock the edge together. I'm not going to do any pulling. I'm just going to do a straight overlock right on the edge to attach the band elastic to the band. Okay, so I overlocked it so the soft side is facing there, and I just did it right on the edge. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here with this pulled apart, and I'm going to zigzag the edge so the seam allowance is going to be on the lining itself, so that way it kind of forces it to stay down. So I'm going to zigzag that, come on back, and then we can start working on the back. So this piece is all done. I've gone ahead and I prepped my straps. So I'm just going to use the plain Christina straps on this. So I'm not going to do adjustable. These are my preferred strap because it makes it a little bit easier and I don't have to do too much adjusting. I do love the adjustable straps, but I do prefer these ones on myself. So I've got the pink. So all of these pieces are done temporarily. So let's now pull these the back out. So at the back, Let's see. Okay, let's get it so the right sides. Oops, that is the right side, and that is the right side down. Okay, here is the center back. I'm going to do that so right side is facing down, right side is facing up. And then we have, oh, this goes over here. So we have that here. This is the one that goes on that side. So we have this on right side facing up and right side facing down over here. Okay, so we're going to tackle the top piece first. So I'm going to set these to the side temporarily. Okay, for the next part we're actually going to finish our neckline. So the way I kind of held everything, I actually have it so the right sides we're facing away from each other. So I'm going to flip it so the right sides are facing each other. And then I'm going to pin my neckline together. Now I may attach my straps in a slightly different order than what I did in the instructions, but I haven't quite decided yet. I'll probably make that decision when I get to it. Okay, I'm going to now add elastic to the neckline as well. So I'm going to do it on the fashion fabric side, so that way it helps it roll to the inside. So I'm going to work on that, and then I'll be back so we can work on the center back panel. Okay, so my neckline is finished. I can then take, well, I'm just going to leave this right here right now. Now, if you want, you can go in and do an understitch on the back neckline, but it's going to be on your back, so I usually don't do that. Plus, I haven't put my strap in yet, and I don't want to put the strap in. I don't want to do the understitch until I do a strap. So I'm going to set this aside. And one of the reasons I think I'm not going to attach the straps at this point is because everything will start being attached, and it could get a little bit more complicated from what you're looking at. So I'm going to do the straps later. Okay, so now we're going to look at our center backs. We're going to do with our right sides together. So the right sides together, and I'm going to sew this swoop. Now the swoop, I don't usually add elastic to it, but in my testing, some of the testers preferred it with the elastic. If you're doing that, make sure you don't pull it too much. Only really pull it so it would sit flat. It really depends on the elastic that you're using. So I prefer not to use any elastic right here. So I'm going to go ahead and sew this and then come back so we can then sandwich this between here. Okay, for this one, I want to turn it right side out. And I just want to pin it initially up, kind of up at the top, so I keep that seam correct, kind of folded. And then I'm going to go ahead and just kind of do a couple pins over here on the side as well. Not all the way down, I just want to do a little bit, actually probably just the one, because I want to have these edges all together. And then what we want to do is we want to sandwich this between here. So if I do it like this, so we have them the right sides facing each other. I can then pin this side. And then I can pin this side over here. Now I don't usually use the notch just because between my cutting and sewing I'm not as accurate as I'd like to be. So I just ignore the notches and I just line up the fabric. The notches are there to help if you need them. Okay, so now what we need to do is we actually want to clean finish this piece, And what we can do is we can do that with the burrito roll. So I'm going to roll this all up and actually like a very layered burrito. And then we can kind of roll this inside and tuck that other piece in these layers. Okay, and then we have this little piece right in here we can finish up. Okay, and so I'm going to go ahead and sew this, and then I can pull it all right side out. Okay, now we can undo our burrito. And see, we've got our center back, clean finish on the inside, clean finish on the outside. Okay, so because one of the last things we're going to be doing is the armhole, this is why I can actually wait to do the strap. Since we're not finishing the armhole at this point, I'm just going to kind of line up and pin my seams together. So kind of lining them up to the edge. And so if they're not lining up in any areas, we're not forcing it, we're just putting them next to each other. And then anything that needs to get corrected can get corrected when we're sewing. Okay. Looks good. Okay, now we're going to sandwich and clean finish this back seam too. So over here, I've got my right side facing up. I can take my right side facing down, and then I can pin, and there is a notch on the side. You can use it if you want. I am opting to just pin it without. Actually, now that I have these pinned, I can then actually take over, and we're not going to burrito roll it, we just need to clean finish this. So if this is a right side, so that will go over here, This is the side that we need. So that'll go on this side. So same thing. Both of these princess panels on the back are pinned together. So I'm going to go ahead and sew those ones together, and then I'll come back and we can work on assembling front to back. Okay. So my back is pretty much done. We still have, well, our front is pretty much done. We still have our necklines to attach and our shoulders to attach. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to do my necklines. So the neckline of the lining itself, I'm going to pin these together. So I'm going to add some elastic in here on the neckline. And then the next step is going to be adding the strap. So I'm going to go ahead and get the strap added to this piece. So this one, this kind of comes, so it should be outwards. So yep, so that one goes there, this one goes here. Oops, we got to flip them because we want them to be in that direction. So we're going to take it so then the right side, so my straps are facing more outwards. Get that right in here to my neckline. So 2 pins. And then I'm going to fold this one around so we can kind of clean finish the top of that strap. Now this is going to be stitched with a straight stitch. That way it's nice and sturdy, it doesn't come out. So now I'm going to do that over here. Oops, and I see what happened. I need to go in and touch those up before I can do that, but I'm going to do the same thing and get the strap attached to this side. So I'm going to go ahead and do that in this one, and then we'll be back to continue working. Shoulder strap in the back is attached. The neckline is attached in the front. We can then take and start pinning. Oh, I got a little pleat there. Oops. So I'm going to get these 2 pieces lined together on the side. Where did my pin cushion go? Okay. I'm going to now line the right sides facing each other over here. Start at the top. Okay, so we have that pinned. Now what we can also do is we can also take and clean finish this side seam. Where is it? Here. Here's the side seam. So I'm kind of pulling it so then it's sandwiched between, and so when I flip it over, it'll be all clean finished. Okay, so now these sides are already lined up. Make sure I get my sides. So after doing the side seams, we now just have to finish up the strap and the armhole. Okay, let's pull it right side out. Got the necklines. Okay, so we're going to clean finish the strap point. So the strap's going to be like this, so we can then take and fold it in this direction. And then clean finish that top with the lining. Okay, on this side, do the same thing. It's going to go like this. clean finish the lining. Okay, so now I'm going to straight stitch both of these at my 3/8 inch. I do need to do the armholes, but the other thing I can work on while I get up at the machine is clean finishing the hem in the front and in the back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my overlock machine and just serge the edge. So we have 3/4 on both sides. You can see it's a little off, and that could have been my sewing, but I like to even it up at the bottom. And then we're going to take, after we overlock that, we're going to then fold this up so it lines up to the bottom here. And then we can do a zigzag to keep that, to secure it. Now on the back, you can see I did have a little bit of puckering, and that's just user error. So it was my sewing a little bit. So what I see here is I'm pretty uneven here. This back should be pretty even. So when I come in, I'm going to just kind of overlock and kind of clean this up so it's pretty straight. So then I can take and fold this under as well and do my hem with the zigzag. So I'm going to do all 3 of those. So finish the strap, do the hem overlock, fold it up, and zigzag it. I'm going to do that before I come back, and then we just need to address the armhole. Okay, so now I can go ahead and clip off the extra elastic from the neckline. So we don't want that inside the garment. Okay. So at this point, really the only thing that is left is finishing the armhole. Now at this point, if you would like to do an understitch on the front neckline, I would do this before you close your armholes. So I will likely go in and do that because I prefer the look of it. I think it helps it roll nicely. So you can understitch with just a zigzag, holding the elastic, the seam allowance to the lining. And then we're going to take and with a piece of elastic, we're going to clean finish our armholes. Now if you prefer, you're one of those people that really don't like the stitch and fold, or your machine doesn't handle really thick fabrics, you can always cut down the seam allowance and just do fold over elastic. That's not a problem. What I'm going to do is I'm going to end up sewing the elastic to the inside and then rolling it in and then doing a zigzag around the neckline. So I'm going to add the elastic to the inside. First thing I'd like to do is, well, I said I'm going to do my, I'm going to do my understitch on the front neckline, and then I'm going to line up all these edges and pin them together, and then do my elastic and zigzag. And then I'll show you the finished garment. Okay, as you can hear the hum of my sewing machine in the back, I finished up the hem there, finished up the hem in the back. Oops, looks like it's coming out a little bit, so I'll have to go in and touch that up a little bit. Got my neckline understitch done. Neckline looks a lot better. I think I must have stretched my elastic when I put in the neckline. And then we have the elastic around the armhole, and then it's zigzagged. So just a matter of clipping up threads and bits and bobs of the elastic from the armhole. And this is pretty much done. Where'd the other one go? There it is. So there is my front, there is my back, and then let's look on the inside. On the front, I have a separate shelf bra with elastic at the bottom.